March 9th, and we'll look at the New Testament reading for today from Mark's Gospel, which has Mark's description of Jesus' Last Supper. So this took place during the Passover that Jesus was celebrating with his disciples. And perhaps you've attended a Christian Seder meal, and that can be a meaningful way to appreciate what the Passover was like. But Mark and others who recorded Jesus' Last Supper show us that the Last Supper itself was something very, very new. And so here at the Last Supper, when we look at it in detail, it could have taken place in many different places within the setting of the Passover meal, but a good candidate for when it took place is during the preliminary dish, at the end of which the main meal would have been brought in but not eaten, and the second cup mixed and placed but not yet consumed. So if this is the place, which I believe it was, where the institution of the sacrament of the altar took place, that is the Last Supper, then it has a great deal of significance. Really, there is much to be found wherever one might place it within the setting of the Passover, but there is a special significance if it took place at this point. Because if this is the point at which it took place, then the breaking of the bread signifies the start of a new meal, and Jesus's body replaces the Passover lamb, and the cup replaces any and all Passover cups. So, to make this crystal clear, in Jesus' Last Supper, the Passover lamb is replaced with the real presence of Jesus. Just as the blood of the lambs at the very first Passover turned away the judgment of God, and the destroyer then passed over the houses, so now Jesus' blood can be seen to turn away God's judgment as well, but it does it perfectly. It is also important to consider Jesus' words when he said, "This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many." So in Exodus 24, verse 6, Moses at Mount Sinai is giving the people God's law, or Torah, and he divides the blood of the offered sacrifices into two portions, pouring out half of it onto the altar and the other half into bowls. And then Moses reads the book of the covenant to the people, and the people affirm the details and promise to do them of the covenant. Then Moses sprinkles the people with the blood that was in the bowls. So that is what took place in the Old Testament. However, here, what we have in the new covenant of Jesus' blood is a very different situation. In this covenant, no animals substitute for man. The Son of God does that himself. He stands in our place. And in this covenant, everything is one-sided. Jesus does it all. In this covenant, God does the giving. That's grace. That's the love of God. And this truly is, as it says in Hebrews, a much better covenant, even an everlasting covenant that God has established for you and for me. So I hope that helps us all to consider and appreciate exactly what we see here as we read Mark's Gospel and his account of the Last Supper. May God be with you and bless you.